even though it's just my knowledge of how I live, there was not an episode that centers around the worker being rude towards the customer, but in this case, Enid being her own character, as in not being selfish, as in what other people think, isn't really something I considered anything worth justifiable when it comes to punishment towards Enid. In this episode, Wally the White turns Enid into stone for not paying attention to him when it comes to basically him buying something from the bodega, and Kale needs to find a solution to turn Enid back to normal. With this being a Kale and Enid episode, the way I see it, Enid is being how she feels during work time, which in some way is relatable, but at the same time when it comes to her personality on what she enjoys things, honestly, this is mostly a bonding episode between Enid and KO, and with Wally the White interfering, it really makes sense onto why Enid acts the way that she is in this episode. So I can't really think that what Enid did in this episode is justifiable for her to turn into stone by Wally the White. When it comes to Wally the White, truth be told, if he does end up returning in the future episode, which for my knowledge at least, not really, he really was mostly in the wrong, judging of how that he took matters into his own hands, since that the stone effect on Enid only lasts about 24 hours. If anything, whenever I see Enid in stone, it's supposed to be a serious matter while KO needs people's help like Mr. Gar and Dendy in order to turn her back to normal. But when it comes to what Wally the White might do to Enid, honestly, that just goes over the top. And it really sums up in the fact that when it comes to Kale's mother, who is willing to help out, Kale isn't willing to do anything bad towards her son, unless if it's justifiable when it comes to grounding him. And since that Wally the White stated that someone was chasing after him to Carol, honestly, this was justified. And once Enid gets out of being in stone for the second time, truth be told, she almost took down Wally the White, but at the same time, judging of the character that she is, she lets him go. Because truth be told, even though that Wally the White does deserve some kind of punishment, at the same time, he doesn't deserve to get off scot-free for causing the situation to begin with. Yes, Enid would have been a lot more better off if she would have been nicer towards the customers, but still, this episode's premise of being nice to basically anyone, but in a way, well, it's not that selfish in the way Enid does, then the customers will probably go a little too far when it comes to doing something severe, but since some of that doesn't happen in the real world in the nature of this show's portrayal, then be thankful that none of those employees are like Enid if they have powers like Enid. But then again, if you did have powers, you would have defend yourself or do something selfish like Wally the White did in this episode. When it comes to cliche formats for the plots of these first episodes, this episode is better, but to a minimum. I'm just saying, if you still find these episodes good when it comes to the first episodes of this show, I don't have a problem with it. It's just me just looking at these types of directions and why I didn't remember a lot from this show. But at the same time, this isn't the only show that I forgot the most, but it's no surprise. When it comes to Enid's character, even though that this is a bonding episode between her and KO, it doesn't change the fact that we're understanding her a little bit more, even if it's insignificant. I may have talked about the episode centering around her parents and her disguising herself as a wizard in front of her friends, but at the same time, I am still going to talk about her college episodes, since that's the main focus that I'm looking forward to when it comes to Enid's character. Not to mention the other episodes centering around her and Lad in high school. And of course, the other character, but there's so much going on that this show is gonna get good from here on out. But we're still in the beginning of season 1. I'm giving this episode a 7.5 out of 10.